Well, good morning, loved ones. Back in the foyer, as you can tell. Today, if you don't mind, I'd like to get a little something off of my chest, and it relates to how we read, or sometimes pastors like myself preach Hebrews chapter 11. Hebrews chapter 11 is called it's a chapter about faith. In here is the hall of fame of God's people who did great things throughout the history of God's narrative of redemption from the very beginning, from Genesis on through. Here's just a couple of the stories or the events that are recorded. It says, by faith, Noah built an ark to deliver his family. By faith, even Sarah herself, when she was unable to have children, received power to conceive offspring, even though she was past age. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be called the sons of Pharaoh's daughter and chose to suffer with the people of God rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasure of sin. By faith, Israel crossed the Red Sea as though on dry ground. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell down. By faith, Rahab the prostitute welcomed spies in peace and didn't perish with those who disobeyed. And then he goes on talking about other heroes of faith. And what more can I say? Who by faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, obtained promises, shut the mouths of lions, quenched the raging of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, gained strength in weakness, became mighty in battle, put foreign armies to flight. Women received their dead, raised to life again. Other people were tortured, not accepting release, so that they might gain a better resurrection. Others experienced mockings and scourgings, as well as bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn in two, they died by the sword and wandered about in sheepskins and goats, destitute, afflicted, and mistreated. They wandered in deserts and on mountains, hiding in caves and holes in the ground. And these aren't the entirety of what is recorded here in Hebrews chapter 11. There are other things that are glorious that are recorded. Now, sometimes the way we read this, sometimes the way this passage is taught, sometimes this passage is preached in a way that asks this question: what's wrong with us? What is wrong with us? Take a look at these great heroes of the faith and take a look at yourself. You're pathetic. We take a look at this and we wonder, where are the great exploits that these people did? And how come we aren't doing the exact same things? Loved ones, Hebrews chapter 11 was not written to expose how pathetic you are. It wasn't written to expose how pathetic we as Christians are today. It was written to encourage us in God. It was written to make us feel great about what God may do in our lives when the time comes. When we find ourselves in a crisis moment, we're not to look inside for a faith that is adequate for the moment. We're to look up to a God who we are trusting in and whom we have placed our faith, and believe that in the very same way that he helped these people do the things that they did, he will help us do the things that we need to do today. I don't know many of us who need to, stop the mouths of lions. I don't know many of us who are going to be called to receive spies into our house of prostitution these days. But the truth is this: we face a crisis of faith almost daily in which we have to trust God to help us through. And in those moments, we aren't to take an inventory of ourselves and see how strong we are. We're to look up and say, God is strong enough. The same God who empowered these great people in great ways will empower us in great ways to do what he calls us to do today. Take a look around the world. Clearly, there is need in our world for people of faith to trust in their great God to make a difference. And that's supposed to be the takeaway for us in Hebrews chapter 11. We're not to take a look at this and go, man, where are all these great people? Loved ones? These people weren't great. They served a great God, and so they did great things. You serve the same God, and you can do like things in your life as God appoints them for you, and as God brings you to them. Be encouraged by Hebrews chapter 11. Don't be ashamed of who you are because you're not Moses. You're not called to be Moses. Don't be ashamed because you're not Rahab. You're not called to be Rahab. Don't be ashamed because you're not whoever it is who you like most in these stories. Be glad that God has made you who you are in these days, and He is with you. I hope this encourages you. God bless.